This is the time, this is the place, and this is FC3's Monkey Business coming at you with everything geeky. And anything can be geeky if you love it enough, so they never know what you're really going to get. And I don't even know what I'm going to get. And welcome to Season 3 of Monkey Business. In the studio with me, the longest-serving podcast engineer in Monkey Business history, Billy DeTore.
Woo!
Now starting his third season.
Yes.
My effervescent and eternal co-host, Miss Tanya Metris.
I'm not going to miss anymore.
You're not going to miss anymore?
Well,
you're not even the longest-serving co-host anymore. Well, actually, you still are, but you missed an episode.
I missed two
episodes.
The last episode of Season 2.
I'm telling you,
the last
it was a
two
cliffhanger.
episodes of Season 2.
It was a cliffhanger. We left on a cliffhanger.
Is Tanya going to live? Is she going to die?
It was almost starting to look like a bad episode of Grey's Anatomy. It was bad.
Oh, yeah.
Also, to my left, you can't see it, but I can, is the world's greatest intern, come staffer, come fired to back to intern, come fired completely, and then rehired back to staffer. It's Tony Paquetta's in the house.
Hi, guys. Is that new music?
Yes, well, we've been using it on and off throughout Season 2.
Have you not been listening?
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
No, it's the same music.
And at the far end of the table, my bouncing baby boy, Mr. Ian Christopher. How you doing there, buddy? Muffins. His new battle cry in life is blueberry muffins. Go figure.
Yep. Sort of like the Tick and Spoon?
Well, yes, exactly.
Spoon.
Muffins.
Tanya's looking at me like she's never seen the Tick.
I have seen the Tick. He was doing laundry.
Him doing laundry. Anyway, so it's the beginning of something new, and we're going to try some new stuff. We're going to have some of the same old stuff. We're going to do our commercials or whatnot, and we're going to have interviews, and we're going to do reviews of things, and we're going to try different music out sometimes, and we're going to have the same old stuff where we talk about the cool, geeky things that are out there. We've got interviews coming up this season with pretty much everybody who was on VIP row for the 2018 Flower City Comic-Con.
Sometime, somewhere,
sometime and somewhere, and someplace, and some along the line. We'll be chatting with Eric Avari, and we'll be chatting with Beth Broderick.
Catherine Sutherland
from Power Rangers. Kelly O'Quinn, I believe.
Carrie,
excuse me. My bad.
You're still sleeping, aren't you?
I'm pretty much. Yeah. I think I'm going to be catching up with sleep in October at this point.
It's only
sleep
June.
is for the weak.
I'm weak. I admit it. I'm weak. I need sleep.
That's why you are weak, because you need sleep.
So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff, and we appreciate you coming along with us on this ride as always. Producer Sherry and producer Chris cannot be with us today. They're under the weather. We feel bad, so we're sending out some love.
Feel better soon.
To Sherry and to Chris. Hope you guys are feeling better soon, and we'll see you guys soon.
Hopefully Monk's making them chicken soup.
I'm telling you, that'd be good. She's good at that sort of thing from what I'm told. All right. And so this is where we would start jumping into talking about sponsors. Well, we don't have any sponsors at the moment because their contracts have all run out. So we have all out of sponsors at the moment. But
so if you want to sponsor
Chris
at fc3rock.com. .org.
Yep, Chris at fc3rock.org. Or you can do sponsorships at fc3roc.org.
But I'd like to thank all of our previous sponsors.
We had some great ones last
show.
year. We had Knox and Selena's and Pop Rock and Redfin Realty and Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey and
The Great Escape
Room, and they were all really great and really supportive, and we appreciate their help.
Arch Telecom.
Oh, that's right, Sprint Arc Telecom. They were great too. We had a lot of fun with them. Arch.
I don't know.
Arch Telecom. And that's I'm going to say is Arch Telecom. But anyway, now we don't have any sponsors, and we would like you to be that person. So reach out to us, let us know you're interested, and we will work something out so that we can start talking about you on our podcast. We also have Patreon, still active, still available.
What is Patreon?
Patreon is a subscriber service, it's that you can go ahead and use to support Monkey Business. Look for us, patreon.com, Patreon, Patreon.com. Look for Mighty Monkey and Monkey Business, and you will find us. FC3ROC?
Yes.
That's FC3ROC on Patreon. So subscribe to us on Patreon. You can get cool sneak peeks. I'm going to start doing my First Officer's blog again. We're going to convince Tanya to start doing a video blog, too, this year, and she's going to have fun with that, whether she realizes it or not. Counselor's blog. Ship's Counselor's blog.
Yes.
And lots of cool stuff. You'll get guest announcements before anybody else. You'll get upcoming information. You'll see a schedule of what we've got going on in Season 3 coming up. And there are ticket options and vendor options at all the levels so that you can have access to the 2019 Flower City Comic-Con, which is now what we're working on.
We are.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. And so with that being said, let's
Wait, do you want to help others find the show?
No, not at the moment.
No, you don't want to. I tell you. Well, if you would like to help others find the show, leave us a review on the Apple Podcast.
Ooh, that's right.
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts.
This is the single easiest way to support the show and encourage others to listen. Every review will be thanked on the air, and any questions will be answered. We want this to be a conversation. And since the conversation is a little slow because Chris is sleeping, please send us your questions. In addition to the Apple Podcast, you can find us on Google Play, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Stitcher. Is there a place that you find your podcast and you can't find FC3 Monkey Business? Please let us know, and we will have Sherry put us on there.
Yep.
And make sure you also follow us on Twitter at FC3 Monkey Business Podcast. And if you do, please say hi. We love it when you want to say hi to us.
Yes.
And we'll say hi back.
We do. We will. We have.
So there you go. Now you can go on to your next
That was
segment.
actually like a clever ploy on my part to get you to be more involved.
Oh, yeah. You totally forgot.
That
Yeah,
was
totally
seriously. That's my
forgot.
story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yep.
Because I'm
Sherry, he
retiring.
forgot.
I'm retiring as podcast host after this episode. You're going to be taking over.
Yeah. I'm sorry, folks. That's really not going to happen.
Yes, you are stuck with me.
you.
You
yeah,
are
you
stuck
might
with
love
me.
me. I'll have to retire that over to Billy.
Ooh.
Billy's like,
Billy's
I'm
like,
okay
hey,
with
all
that.
right, I got 2 promotions in one day. That's awesome.
And now I'm fired.
He fired himself.
I did fire Tony during the convention.
Did you fire Tony
Yeah.
during the
Yeah,
convention?
during the podcast.
During
But
the
he's- Oh, that's
podcast.
right.
We did fire him.
Did we actually broadcast that yet?
No, it is on my computer. Somehow we need to clear up the audio because it's really bad.
Okay.
But no, I do have it on my laptop.
All right. Well, maybe Billy and Sherry can look at that and
Maybe.
we can get that out there.
Yeah, because I don't know how to send it.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Something about putting it up as a WAV file or something or
All right.
another.
Well,
I don't know.
We'll figure it all out because we're good at that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk about Flower City Comic-Con 2018. We're going to kind of give an analysis of it from the inside out. And we're going to talk about what we thought worked and what we thought didn't work and some of the things we're already working on changing for next year.
And we're going to share some of your feedback that we've
And
gotten.
share some of your feedback that we've gotten. Do we have any of that?
I do.
You do? Okay,
do.
very good. And so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
And as long as we're talking about sleep, comedian Maz Jabrani.
I have young kids. You back me up on this. When you have young kids at home, you love them, but they're the most exhausting people in the world. When you have young kids at home, your whole goal from the moment they wake up, your whole goal is to make them tired. From the moment they wake up, you're like, run, run, run. Climb, climb. Fly. You can fly. Try flying. Flap your wings. And no matter what you do, when it comes time to sleep, kids don't want to sleep. Craziest thing in the world? Yeah, and there's a thing called sleep training, which is when they turn 6 months old, you're supposed to let them cry it out on the crib. They learn to sleep. Life goes on. Now, I'm originally from Iran. My wife originally from India. So we come from immigrant backgrounds. Immigrants don't sleep train. I don't care if you're Iranian, Indian, Dominican. We don't. Immigrants, we're all in the bed together. I'm in the bed. My wife's in the bed. The baby's in the bed. My mother-in-law's in the bed. There's a rooster in the bed. My cousins are under the bed.
Hailing deep from within the halls of the Floriano Rochester Riverside Convention Center, hailed Flower City Comic-Con 2018 with yours truly as one of the 5 executive directors and my favorite co-host of all time, Tanya Metris, being one of the other 5. It was basically a 2.5 day
Oh, my goodness.
festival of entertainment.
We started on Thursday.
We started on Thursday because the guests started coming into the
Right.
town on Thursday. And we had some fun times with that all right off the bat, trying to coordinate airlines and stuff like that.
Can I tell you the best
Tell me.
thing is trying to wrangle 2 walkers from The Walking Dead?
I was going to touch on Greg French and Mike
Michael
Koski
Koski?
down
Oh,
the
my
road because they were really the heart and soul of the show this year, in my opinion. Because and it was great when I was first introduced to these 2 guys.
We were like, okay.
The idea of these 2 guys, I was like, oh, okay, cool. That'll be a nice. There'll be a token kind of fill in. They'll offer a little bit of color on The Walking Dead and whatnot. And then they proceeded to
Run with it.
run with it in a way that I did not anticipate. And the Shenanigans, it was impressive.
So
It
they
was
were walking.
They became the life of the party, and I'm so thrilled with that because they were so freaking awesome to hang out with.
They walked right past you and Tanya.
On several occasions.
Oh, well, it started at Wegmans because they're like, "What is Wegmans?"
Yes, and that's a
They're
thing.
from the South.
When
They don't
somebody
know what
comes
Wegmans
to
is.
when somebody new comes to the Rochester area, they have to be introduced to Wegmans. And since we had done the media run Friday morning, and we were at Channel 13 right there on West Henrietta Road. We went right down Calkins to the Henrietta Wegmans, which is almost as big as the flagship Pittsford Wegmans. Okay, so...
it was easy to lose them.
Well, that's why I was glad there was two of us, because one stayed with one of them and the other one stayed with the other. And so...
I'm a teacher and a mom.
Oh, my God. Every time we turned around, one of them was wandering off and checking something out. It was like, okay, Tanya, you stay with Greg. I'll stay with Michael. It'll be all fine. We'll tag team and keep them in
I
line.
was going to say, Greg was the first one to start walking away, and
Yes.
then Michael got me on Saturday.
Yes. Michael got you with the Where's Michael. It was like
Yes,
his version of
instead
Where's
of
Waldo.
It was
Yes.
Where's Michael. All throughout the convention center.
And he was sending pictures of himself in various places of the convention center, including backstage areas,
To my phone.
to her phone directly. And with captions like, I think I'm on the way to the panel. I'm not sure if I'm in the right
Where's
place.
the wrestling ring?
This doesn't look like the wrestling ring here.
Oh, wait, I think I found it.
I think I found it, and he's in an entirely different location of the building. Now, the denouement to that story, the punchline to that entire story is the fact that after the vendor floor closed at 7 o'clock and the stars went back to their hotel.
They were going to go to Nick Tahoe's.
Yeah, Michael and Greg were like, yeah, we're going to try and find this Nick Tahoe's place so we can, have a garbage plate.
Because
And
that's the other thing you introduced them to
yes,
in Rochester.
because we do that.
Did they like it?
Yes, they did.
They loved it.
Oh, good.
We introduced Power Rangers alike to and everything, and a lot of different people to garbage place. Anyway, my favorite part of this story is I hear Tanya screaming in the office. Screaming
and laughing.
Screaming and laughing. And Michael had sent yet another Where's Michael picture to Tanya's phone. It was of Greg and Michael, they'd captured Josh Herdman, who played Goyle in the Harry Potter movies, and the three of them went for a road trip. And the caption of the picture was, "We think we made a wrong turn. This doesn't look like Nick Tahoe's." They were in Tanya's front yard.
Taking a selfie.
Taking a selfie in front of her house.
And then, the next day, I got a question mark from my neighbors going, there were these people that jumped out of a van, took pictures, and then left. And
It's
so,
like my favorite moment of the convention.
That was pretty fun. And but no, it's like the next morning at 4 o'clock. It's Monday morning.
Yes.
I'm at home, and I'm like, I'm not even awake yet. 7 o'clock, I look at my phone. I get a text message from Michael. He goes, "I don't know if you're awake, but is there a car coming from us for us?" I'm like, I should have said no. You could walk to the airport.
Yes.
But no, it was pretty fun.
It sounded like they brought their own little fun party.
They
Yes, they
did.
did. And I tell you, I
And-
really would love to have these guys back again and again and again, just to let them loose on the convention.
Well, we were talking about bringing them back, and if we could have someone else back,
Mm-hmm.
him, the two of them, and Austin St. John, and just let them run
Yes.
the convention for the weekend.
Just
That's
let
what
'em-
I was just going to
just cut 'em
suggest.
loose.
Maybe they can be volunteers.
Exactly. Exactly.
And just, but I mean, because they had heard about how Austin St. John had gotten a hold of our Walkies the year before, so they were trying their darndest
To get their hands on Walkies.
And they actually had yours for
Greg
a while.
pickpocketed one from me when they were taking pictures with me at one point.
You can call them walkers with walkies.
But that's it. Walkies.
So in regards to all the craziness and things like that, that was one of the most fun parts of the weekend. I can't even start where else to go from the weekend. It was just a blur of events.
Well, we had the bigger floor space because we had the second floor with the vendor where the vendor hall was
Right.
and where VIP and the artists were, and it had its pros and its cons.
There's a mixed review in regards to
Well,
that.
yeah, there is, and then a mixed review from us as well. I mean, we definitely we figured we always come up with these ideas and we think they're going to be amazing, and then we see them, and sometimes they are, and then sometimes they don't
not
quite
so
fit.
much.
So we're gonna try and work on that because we want to grow and evolve the show.
We're always striving for improvement.
Yes. We've had a couple of commentary people like, oh, we liked it when it was just all on one floor. You need to keep it just one floor. But we can't bring more stuff to the show if we do that.
Yeah,
there
we would
has to
have
be an evolution
scale
plan.
it back if we go back to
Yeah,
one floor.
and we're not going to go backwards. We're going to go kind of, if we do anything, we're going to go sideways with it, but we'll
that
go
would go into the
forward.
river?
Well,
A floating
no,
barge?
No, sideways, the other direction. We can go to the Radisson or we go to the Hyatt or something
okay,
like
that
that.
type of thing.
Um,
But I still feel like part of this, having the two floors this year, for me, I felt such a personal disconnect because being one of the VIP coordinators for the media guests and things like that, and making sure I'm constantly checking on them and the PAs that are working with them, and they are all amazing and wonderful people. I just felt a disconnect myself because they were so far away from like our office and the green room. And if I needed to get them something like water or their lunch, or they want to come down for lunch, it just seems so far away. So that's one thing that I would definitely need to work on somewhere. But there is no space that we can find upstairs for
I was going to ask that.
designated office or green room. So Tim, if you're listening from the convention center, you need to build us an office upstairs. Hell, at this point, I might take the tech deck.
Yeah. Well, that's actually an idea. Is maybe we can put something up there so we can kind of observe the upper floor from the upper floor.
It's just like we'd have to keep Michael out of it because he was.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah, but yeah, that's like. And I felt that way the whole weekend, and I was striving. So, like, I know, like, Saturday night after the late night
I think
programming, who's hitting the things?
Stop tapping. Stop it. Yes, I'm looking at you. Anyway.
Someone was echoing. Just like our after-hours programming, I was just, like, kind of winding down from Saturday night and from the show, and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to make a more conscious effort to be up on the vendor floor on Sunday because I wasn't up there as much because I was still running around trying to get everything done for Saturday.
Well, I think what that does is lend itself to something I was suggesting at the board meeting. I don't know if you heard me or not, but I think what we need to develop your staff better. We need to get you more assistants, more people who can be intermediaries between you and the PAs on the line. So then that way you don't have to feel disconnected. You have somebody who's in the office, somebody who's on the line, and then you can float to wherever you want, knowing that you're still connected, you're still in touch. So a lot of our things are we had more volunteers this year than we had in the previous 2 years combined. You know, we ran the first show with 20 people.
We had like 50-something.
We had just shy of 50-something at this time. Curtis Welch is our new volunteer coordinator, and I think he did a fantastic job.
Not including our 5 or 6, 7 main staff people.
Exactly. You know, and I think Curtis did a great job. We had a lot of people who came in late at the end just before things happened, and so we had a bigger staff. And so I think we need to keep developing that, bringing more people in to help run the show, and then that way we cover more ground more easily, more effectively. So that's just, one of my first thoughts. Tony,
yes,
you spent a lot of time hanging out with Marlon behind the FC3 table. What were some of your observations?
A lot of everybody seemed to be having a good time. The raffle went over really well, and the all the vendors all around us were very kind, and if they need something from us, we'd help them out.
Right.
If they need we need something like say I need to walk around the vendor floor. They'd keep an eye on Marlon, make sure
everybody's keeping an eye on Marlon, make sure he didn't wander off.
Yeah, or keep an eye on my cousin Michael.
Right. How'd Michael have a good time?
Michael had a great time.
This was his first con, wasn't it?
This was his first con.
And so he jumped right in
first.
Nice.
I told him, hey, if you want, I can get you on volunteer staff, and you can come in and have fun.
Sounds good. Sounds like that plan worked out pretty damn well. Ian Christopher, it is time for you to stop talking about muffins. All right, you did your usual thing. Yeah, I speak really, really well. Of just kind of hanging out and keeping an eye on things. You helped out where you could, but you pretty much just kept your own thing and you played in the video game room. As more of kind of along the lines of a ticket holder's approach. What did you think of things? Was the expanding to the second floor, did that work out?
I loved it.
Get right in on your microphone, buddy.
I loved it. It gave more room to walk around because the first floor, it's convenient. It's all in one place. You can walk around. But it felt good to, if you just get a little bored, you could just walk around, see everything because it takes a longer time. Walk up the stairs, walk down the stairs, gave you some good exercise, actually. Lost 1,500 pounds that day. My step count was all the way up.
Yeah, I had 36 miles for the weekend.
I had 26.8 or something like that.
Yeah. And then Dan cheated because he went out for his jog in the morning a couple times.
Now, you were in a panel room for a good portion of
For the good part of Saturday, I was in a panel room.
So how the heck did you get 36 miles?
You weren't really with me for much of Thursday and Friday.
He decided to run up the down escalator.
Yes, I did. I ran up the down escalator for a little bit. But no, Sunday was particularly, I think I had like 16,000, 17,000 steps on Sunday alone. And that was just in a 6-hour cycle. So, yeah, there was a lot going on for me.
You missed the whole trek to Niagara Falls after the show.
I did. I'm so glad you did not have a choice in the matter, but I'm so glad that you actually did that, because I've realized over the past now 3 years of doing this show that I've managed to make a couple of really cool memories. Like, for instance, I got to do 2 interviews with Eric Avari. I interviewed Jake the Snake Roberts. I interviewed Dinah Leto this year. I interviewed Catherine Sutherland, the Power Ranger. And then in recent years, I've had these little misadventures or things going out, and encountering stuff with these people, and in the previous conventions, having dinner with folks who have been on TV and behind the scenes and whatnot. So I've had a lot of these memories built up over my time working with conventions. And I realized Dan and Tanya really haven't had a lot of opportunities. And so Catherine Sutherland sends out a text message Sunday morning. Was it Sunday morning?
It was Sunday
morning. She sends out, hey, I hear Niagara Falls is close by. I really would love to see it. Anybody want to go with me? Tanya starts immediately typing, well, I got to do this, and I got to get home, and I'm like, no, delete that. Delete that right now. Delete it. And she very begrudgingly deletes it. And I said, this is what you're going to type. Yes, exclamation point. Me, exclamation point. She gives me that dirty look that Tanya gives me every so often. I'm like, do it. And she starts begrudgingly typing this out. I'm like, now hit send. And she looked like at me for a second, and then she thought about it, and then she hit send. And so she's in on this. And eventually, as it came to pass, Catherine Sutherland, our box office goddess, Sybil Corbin, and
Deanna was supposed to go.
Deanna was supposed to go, but she could not make it.
No.
And then Tanya. So the 3 girls, Tanya, Sybil, and Catherine, went off to Niagara Falls. 6-hour road trip. They saw Niagara Falls for 10 minutes, and then they had dinner together. But it was a great, because you got to have dinner with Catherine Sutherland. She had a lot of great insight.
And I think that's awesome. I think Chris is right. It's something that I also would have gone, it's been long. But now
I haven't seen my kids all weekend.
But you'll see them again for years. You've got years with them.
Yeah.
And now you've got a memory that is really cool.
Absolutely.
And a story to tell.
And I want to make sure we do that for Dan next year.
Catherine Sutherland was the Power Ranger.
Yes,
she was. She was the second Pink Power Ranger. And she was just delightful. She was just absolutely sweetheart.
And now has a restraining order against Ray.
Yes. Yes, she does. I actually had volunteers jokingly, thank God, telling, they would look at Catherine, look at Ray, and then go, no, sir, you have to keep at least 100 feet back. You have to, and so she was in on the joke, and she would see him coming, and she would turn quickly away. She would give him her shoulder, stuff like that. And he was just, poor Ray was just suffering. He wanted to spend so much time revering his Catherine, but he couldn't. So,
such a Ray thing to do.
It is such a Ray thing to do. He is now working on his own podcast.
Yes, he is.
The Legacy podcast is going to be a Power Ranger centric, kind of podcast. So we're hoping we're going to have him on board this season to kind of give us some insight and whatnot and talk about his podcast a little bit. I've even invited him to become part of the Mighty Monkey network of podcasts.
I like that.
Isn't that?
His legacy one?
Yeah, make his legacy, say to be fun. And then we can now call ourselves the flagship of the Mighty Monkey podcast network.
It's sort of like the Kevin Smith's Smodcast podcast. Smodcast was first, but now there's 10 others.
Exactly.
That are all in the network.
And we got to give a shout out to our Dolly. Who is working on our I Am Nerd Candy podcast.
Candy.
She's got about, half a dozen episodes out now at this point. So good luck to her, and we will be keeping an eye on how she's doing. So yeah, there's a lot going on, Billy.
Yeah. I'm sorry I missed it. By the way, I was away in New York City.
I was going to ask you about your trip, because I know this was a big thing.
And I didn't want, because you're talking about FC3, but I followed you guys through my adventures in New York City. I was still on Facebook,
he was still
at night watching. That's how I knew Tanya wound up in Niagara Falls, and the walkers were all over the place. And I'm just trying to figure out, because I was at the first 2 FC3s. This was, and where everything was on the first floor. And I'm still, is the second floor of the convention center still a huge space?
Yes, we had it cut in half.
Of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you had half of it. Did you still have roller derby? Where was the wrestling ring?
The wrestling ring was in the foyer once again, but that's the last time we'll be doing that.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
So The way you said that made it sound like that's the last time we'll be doing that.
No, that in the foyer.
Yeah, we won't be doing it in the foyer.
Okay. Let's clarify.
Yeah, having the wrestling ring in the foyer looked on paper like a good idea, but then the noise and the way it affected...
even louder this year than it was last year.
The way it affected traffic as well was an issue, and the way that affected... actually, just the atmosphere in the in the concessions area where we were having a music track being played. It did not function very well. So what we're thinking of doing is finding new and interesting ways to have, if we're going to continue with the wrestling track, where would we do it? How
would
we
do it?
And when we're probably going to do it like a Saturday evening thing, maybe up on Empire North, or maybe in one of the staging areas.
Because where did you have the ukulele, the mock?
That was in the concession area.
The concession area, which is behind the stairs, and the wrestling ring was in front of the stairs. So it was like
I'm interested in everybody's favorite parts of the. Like I know you did a lot of panels, Chris.
Yes.
Did you have a particular favorite?
I will hands down Eric Avari.
Okay.
I did one on Saturday with him and one on Sunday, and just what a great gentleman! What a class act gentleman he was. And he would tell. So I spent most of the Saturday one talking about his career and how he came up. We did touch a little bit on his activism with his favorite charity, Ben's Bells. And we did a little bit of, his favorite episode and what it's me. I remember asking him, I said, when you get invited to join a franchise like Star Trek, does an actor stop and think for a moment, well, I have to deal with the fandom as well as the workload, and what was that going to be like? And his reaction was very entertaining. He goes, yeah, but that is actually a consideration. There's a few of us who are character actors who, when we're given these parts, they're great opportunities because they give you visibility in a great franchise. But then you also have to remember that you're going to be dealing with somebody who eventually down the road is going to see you and ask you, well, what was your motivation in episode 6 of season 7? And then this, and they're going to ask you details, and the fandom is so adamant, and so there's
passionate.
It is a consideration that character actors will it's a great opportunity, but you always want to be mindful of what you're getting yourself into.
And one thing you said I found interesting just now, and is that I've been to FC3 for a couple of years. I've been to other conventions throughout Toronto and Buffalo and all over the place, and I've never seen anyone do 2 panels.
Yeah, it's not common, but we do have it happen once in a while.
So the fact he was able to, that he was willing to, I think is very cool.
And then he had his back surgery 2 days later.
Wow.
And he's healing very well. He's doing well. We get some updates that we're Facebook friends now. I'm Facebook friends with Eric. He's an old friend of mine now. But it's so wild because, and I'll use this anecdote. My mother, her tradition now is she comes on Sundays. And she will plan it so she walks into a panel that I'm doing. So
I brought her there.
Yeah, I know. So she'll watch the panel, and then I give her a tour of the whole convention.
That's right, Rich. I met your mom last year.
Yes, you did. And so she came in during my second interview with Eric Avari. And before she had walked in, Eric had told this anecdote about Laurence Olivier and had, taking notes from the great actors that he grew up with. And Olivier would always get standing ovations when doing stage performances because of the way he would get the way he would do the bow at the end. It was like a 2-stage thing. He would come out and he would sell it to the crowd.
Big grand gesture.
And then he'd do this big grand gesture where he would look like he's reaching out to the people in the mezzanine in the balcony, but he does a sweeping thing so everybody on the lower floor they think that he's basically pulling them up.
Right.
So he's doing this grand gesture. So he's not just waving to the folks in the balcony. He's pulling up the people on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So he's doing that. And so we talked about that and we joked about it, and then we went back to the rest of the interview. And so at the end, I said to him, can you're going to be saying your goodbye to Rochester at this point and heading back to your table. I said, can we do the Olivier bow together? And he starts laughing. And so the two of us get up and, we're down. We have our hands down low and whatnot. And then we just sweep up and everybody in the room stands up and is clapping. And my mother's just caught up in this. You can see her look like, what is it? What's happening? She stands up. She's clapping, just kind of like, I don't know what's happening at the moment, but I'm going with the flow. And it was just so cute.
That's very cute.
That was my favorite. That was one of my favorite things. So, and then his reaction, and I everybody's milling out, and I said to Eric, I said, hey, can I have you just stay in the room just for a moment longer? There's somebody I want you to introduce you to. And he goes, oh, absolutely. And I turned to go, hey, Mom, come here. And he's like, oh, your mother, wonderful. And he gives her a big hug, and he's like, oh, I'm so happy to meet you. And so it was just the quality of the man.
Yeah.
He was just such an absolutely joy to hang around with.
It is always fun when you come across someone whose work you really enjoy.
Yes.
Someone, a celebrity, and they turn out to be awesome.
Yes. It was the win-win situation. Yeah. It was the win-win situation. And he had a lot of great things to say and great commentary for us. So that was cool. And like I said, we're hoping to have him on the podcast in this season so we can talk to him about his charity work, see how his back is healing, things like that. But yeah, where were we on that one? That was a tangent, wasn't it? It was a tangent.
We were talking about all the special things that we've done with the guests and things like that, and then
I went off in my storytelling mode.
And that's okay, and that's what part of the weekend is about:
is building those stories
and making those connections, and hoping that our attendees get some of those connections also.
Anything over there? Any stories you want to share? Any moments that kind of caught your attention? Ian, you've got one?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell us a little bit more.
So, one day, it was Saturday.
So, two guys walk into a bar.
Yeah. The third guy ducks. Sorry.
Oh, shoot. I missed my rim shot opportunity.
Oh, wait. Don't worry about that.
There it is.
Dyslexic guy walks into a bra. Next.
Anyway.
Hold on.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, buddy. So what do you got?
I'm working. I'm running errands, and I don't remember what because, I forget things.
Mm-hmm.
And Goyle walks past me and asks me if I need any help.
That was funny. Josh was really enjoying kind of a level of anonymity.
Oh, well, he didn't look like the photos that were sent to us as headshots. So
he was wearing cargo shorts, a T-shirt, and a backwards hat, and a fanny pack. I mean, it was basically, he was just kind of going through.
Totally got past me at the airport because from what I'm finding out the guests aren't used to having people meet them at the airport.
Okay.
That they just have the number of the
car
driver. Service or the driver, and they go get their bags, and then they go out, whatever. And we've made a conscious effort all 3 years
to be there for them.
To be there, to meet them, see if they needed anything before, and because I'm sorry, with the construction that goes around the Rochester Airport every year.
Every year.
So
there's always something
every year.
It's amazing.
Sometime I would hope that,
may I share with you and Patricia here?
Yes.
Thank you.
That there's not going to be any construction at the airport. We're not sure what they're going to do next year. But so they didn't have a photo of me. They didn't realize that they were meeting me or Deanna or you at the airport. So I lost Josh. He got right past me.
Yes.
Fortunately, you were able to see
Heather.
Well, yeah, but Carrie O'Quinn got right past me.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there. Deanna and I are okay, we got the photos. I have my badge on that says FC3, whatever. And it's so we're okay. We went down to the baggage claim, and we're still looking. Fortunately, he had his Starlog jacket on.
Carrie O'Quinn.
Okay. So I'm just okay, that. But then, trying to find Derek Donovan, the artist, he didn't look exactly like his picture. And I'm because his picture was a little younger than he currently was. And I'm what? Fortunately,
he didn't take one of those future pictures so he looks older than he is?
I don't know. So it just so happens that he had the same exact T-shirt on that was in his photo. I'm just and Deanna caught that because it was Mighty Mouse or something like that. I'm just so they all got past me, and I'm are you kidding me? I'm I've lost every single one of them at one time or another over the weekend.
Get the board with their name on it.
Yeah, that's when you start doing that.
That's what we're going to start.
Yeah,
doing.
And we and you were running a pretty poor average at remembering the per diem envelopes.
Music.
We're getting a call from Texas. Do you want to take it now?
No, it's from Tennessee. It's a whatever.
It's a whatever?
Yeah, it's probably...
Somebody wants to talk to you about
Shopaholic. Or whatever.
Shopaholics Anonymous.
Most likely. It's probably my credit card company going, How
about you, Tone?
I'd say it didn't actually have anything to do with any of the events or people around, but I had a friend who was actually there at the convention. I didn't realize he was at the convention.
Oh, cool.
And all of a sudden, I get a text message. I open the text message, and it's a photo of me from behind. He's like,
I'm here.
It's in like a group chat. So he's like, look who I found.
Nice.
That's funny.
So I'm like, God, Chris, where are you? Because his name happens to be Chris.
Okay, I'm going to say, there's not enough Chris's in the world, apparently.
Obviously not.
No. But so that's the thing, and that's what one of the things I want to do more in the going forward is making sure that everybody on staff, everybody on the team is having a chance to build memories, to have these moments to interact with people, to have these moments where they can be kind of put in situations where, you know, they're doing something they didn't expect to ever be doing in their life, and have something positive come of it. You know, I mean, I have, it's a very conceited moment. I'm going to admit there's a certain level of selfishness to what I'm about to say. And severe ego, but I'm standing there in the middle of the vendor floor Saturday afternoon, and it's when the traffic was at its peak and whatnot, and I'm looking at around the room, and I'm remembering I just did an interview with Eric Avari, and I just met Kathleen Sutherland, and I'm having fun watching Greg and Michael with their shenanigans and everything. And I got people coming up to me, shaking my hand, and thinking, you know, and thanking me for having this show and putting it on, and I'm like, Christ, I did this. And it's like, oh my God, what did I do? I did this. This is all happening because of me and a couple of my really close friends. That was an amazing feeling. Going, wow, look at the sense of accomplishment. You know, that's just, it's so cool to know that people are
and it's a well-deserved feeling. Just so you don't. It's not. I don't think self-serving.
Okay,
I think it's an honest reaction to something really cool.
It is. It was. I'm telling you, and the fact that we're going to keep going. You know, it's a journey. That's our new mantra, by the way. That's the new mantra I've been teaching the board. This is a journey, because we get so focused in getting ready for what's coming now that we forget to look down the road at all the things we'll be able to do, and in the way we're going to grow, the way we're going to add on. You know, some of the people that we're talking about bringing in, and the other projects that we want to meet and hang on to and develop. And this is a journey. And I'm so happy that everybody in this room is on this journey with me, I got to tell you.
And looking at this journey, I'm looking at the attendee feedback and the
yes, good. Let's bring that up.
Long answers. And the one thing that has like jumped out at me is in regards to the workshops and the panels and the Q&As and that's some of the feedback that we really want to focus in on. Someone had said that they would love to see more workshops such as Journey to Your Story, which was by Megan and Nathan.
I actually sat in on that one. It was actually really informative. This couple actually would joke with the crowd, and
cool, good.
It was a lot of back and forth. They actually took examples from the crowd, because everybody in the room, in their opinion, had some story that they wanted to flesh out. So they went around the room and asked what type of stories that the people in the room wanted to like create, and they actually got to like use specific examples from each of those stories and say, this is how I would go about this, and maybe go in like this direction.
Okay. And it says that 45 minutes was barely enough time for them to really get started in on that particular workshop. So we've always like been trying to keep the panels to like a 45-minute, but other people were asking for the panels broken down by if it was discussion or if it was a Q&A. I know we had put in the schedule that it was a Q&A, and in the program a little blurb disclaimer about what the panels were. But even
somebody over there is playing with their phone.
Yeah, it keeps echoing back in my ears.
Yeah.
And something that they want, like the more hands-on workshop type rooms, like a 2-hour workshop on either writing or sewing or cosplay and comic art. And what I didn't realize until I was reading back through here for like the 20th time is that all the cosplay panels ended up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday.
Every one of them?
Something that had to do with cosplay
was all at 4.
Was all like back and forth at 4 o'clock in regards.
All right, we dropped the ball on that
so
one.
therefore, definitely we're listening to you guys and things like that to make sure that it is spread out throughout the day. And we thought that we had some of that, but then of course last minute cancellations, because I know that there was like a cosplay one earlier in the day that ended up getting canceled, and that's we're sorry that there was things that were out of our control in regards to that.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to take that to heart and make sure that we have things that make sense and split out throughout the day that everyone's able to get to for both days.
Thinking about our panel schedule from the first year and what we did this year, it's a night and day difference, and we're moving in the right direction, and we're always happy to learn something new. So we'll continue moving that one forward. I know I've already got some ideas on how I want to evolve the panel schedule even further at this point.
And then the other thing that in regards to the panel rooms is I know that we've had to shut the doors for panel rooms 1 and 2 because of the music that was going on in the concession stand area. So it's like trying to talk and you're trying to listen, you're trying whatever, and there's not a lot of soundproofing in all of those rooms because I know when
there
I
was some bleed over. Yeah.
Bleed over from the stage area into panel room 1 and things like that. And so we're taking all those roadblocks, so to speak.
Challenges.
And we're working on fixing them for the upcoming years.
Yeah.
So.
In terms of feedback, give me some of the good stuff. I'm sure you have it. It's always a ton of fun.
Let's see.
Somebody put in not enough cowbell.
Yes.
So.
Let's see. Ooh, somehow
all I'm getting is now like a picture of Brian walking around with a cowbell banging around like the underfloor.
My computer froze.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Let's see. What did they like? What was good?
Besides Chris and Tanya and Tony and
there you go.
Deanna.
I'm reading the feedback from the attendees. Staff is great and accommodating.
We really are becoming really well known for our staff.
Yep.
And the way our folks treat people and the way we try to help out and make sure that everybody's having a good experience.
It says the venue was clean. The staff, volunteers, and convention center staff were amazing. They like the 501st presence, but love to have them take the main stage and perform something or walk around and interact with the guests. Same with the Ghostbusters.
See, I think, but the thing about the staff, that's something that will bring me back. If I know that the people running it are on the ball.
Yeah.
Everyone loved the cosplay changing area and repair station.
That was a huge
the
success.
Quiet area.
That was a lot bigger success than I thought it was going to be.
I know it's probably just something little, but having toiletries available in the ladies' room for any potential
any issues
for the weekend, that was one thing that we thought about. Let's see. I saw something up here. Love, Wibbly Wobbly, Timey Wimey, and Mark Townsend. Love the extra space this year. Like the location of the ticket booth, however, it got a little crowded at the base of the escalator. So it says that we need better signage, and we're always looking at that.
Yeah.
And we had more signs this year than we had last year.
Yeah. But we'll have more next year than we had this year. So it's just one of those things we'll keep pushing.
To was it Sandy Oswald for the T-shirt booth?
Yes.
Yes. So they love that. Also.
How was Caitlin Blackwood? The young
she was fun.
She
was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, she was a doll. She was a little reserved, a little quiet.
Okay.
You know,
I just know you're a huge Doctor Who fan, so I was wondering. I figure you did the panel for that.
I did not actually. I had my friend Terry from Arlene's Costumes. Okay. She actually ran Caitlin's panel because I had already conflict at that point. But
we were podcasting.
But I got to actually go with Caitlin and her mother Linda, who was just an absolute delight. But I drove with them in Tanya's car, or was it Deanna's?
Deanna's.
It was Deanna's car on the way to
Shenanigans.
Channel 13 when we did our media run Friday morning. So we had a chat in the car while we were going together, and so I got to get Caitlin a little bit there, and she's just an absolute sweetheart.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Some of the other things, and we've already touched base on this, the only what they had complaints about, only the placement of the celebrity guests was a bummer, but that's being addressed, so no worries there. Mm-hmm. And that was actually from someone's comment coming back to us.
I think that if you had put them where this person wanted them, someone else would have been unhappy.
And that's the thing that we say. It's like we cannot make everybody happy,
exactly.
And we're trying, and we're going to continue to try to make the majority of our attendees happy and pleased to be there.
Yeah, we have seriously reached the point where we're not going to make everybody happy.
Right.
It's just like being a Star Wars movie. Not everyone's going to like it.
Yes, that's it.
And by the way, I like Solo.
Thank you.
I liked it too.
Thank you. I did
I
too.
haven't seen it yet.
It was good. It was good. It was.
I'm gonna wait for it to come out on DVD.
What was that?
It was fun. It was exciting. I'm in.
But because it didn't do well at the box office, now the entire anthology series of Star Wars movies
Star Wars
is now
stories
up in the air.
are now.
They're
They've
now up in the
actually
air.
canceled Boba Fett and Kenobi.
No, they've just postponed. They haven't outright canceled them yet. They're now working on redesigning and they're regrouping their plan. But we'll talk about that in another podcast.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, we're closing in on.
So we can.
Just a quick aside. I really enjoyed the Microsoft room. That
was my God! The game room was amazing.
We're looking into bringing even more Microsoft in.
Yeah, we're gonna be working with them.
They actually had a live stream right at the tail end of the convention to E3, so we get a few of the announcements at E3 at FC3.
Nice. That's cool. So that's a relationship we want to keep working with.
Oh, yeah.
Justin and Maya, who were the reps there, they were managing the room.
They were awesome.
They were fantastic. Absolutely amazing people. And that was a very last-minute addition to the convention, so we did not get a chance to give it the love and notoriety and press that it deserved. So we will definitely build that relationship much earlier so that we can bring more attention to it so people know that this is actually a thing that's going to be happening at the 19 show. So that was huge. That was awesome. But yeah, I mean, I want to hear people's feedback because somebody was, a couple people said, well, after this and this, there really wasn't anything to do. And I'm like, we had 3 panel rooms, 2 stages, a wrestling ring, a tabletop gaming area, a video gaming area,
the bridge
simulator, the vendor floor, the guests, the artists, the people, the cosplay contest, the escape room. What more do you need? And that's
bouncy house.
That's a legit question, though. And that's probably not a bad answer. But a legit question because we had all of this stuff. We really worked hard.
What else do they want?
What more are you looking for that we missed?
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We're not challenging you. We're not arguing.
We're asking.
We want to know what are you looking for. If you can say, after going through the 2018 show and say there wasn't that much to do, tell me what you're looking for. And so then we'll see about adding it. Because that blew my mind when people were like, well, there wasn't really much to do. I'm like, what are you looking at? It's like, wait, are you kidding me?
So please help us out there.
Tell me what you're looking for.
To see? And if you want to be part of the programming, let us know.
Yeah. If you've got ideas
take all your ideas in there.
If you got ideas and you're like, well, I want to bring this or I would want this, let us know. Chris at fc3roc.org. That is how you get a hold of basically one of the main executive directors of the entire show, and I will listen to you. I may not respond to your email fast, but I will.
He has email issues.
I have email issues.
So therefore, Tanya,
I have issues, period.
Tanya at fc3roc.org. You can get a hold of me much faster.
So we're gonna go to break in a moment here, and then when we come back, we'll wrap the show up.
This one up,
and we're gonna move on to the rest of season 3. So that's it. That's what we're going to talk about for now. We'll be doing some more videos and Facebook Lives and not where we're going to talk about the show and what we're going to be doing in the future. But for now, that's some of our thoughts of what happened in 2018, and we will be right back.
Liked Batman in the comic books as a kid because Batman was the committed superhero. All the other crime fighters in the comic books got their powers in what always seemed to me to be very random ways. They walk through a cloud of radiation, bam, become really strong. Superman, total accident, crash landed on Earth, boom, could bend steel in his bare hands. But Batman made the decision. He looked in the mirror and said, I'm a very rich, very successful businessman. Occasionally I'm going to dress like a bat and slap the bejesus out of people. You got a problem with that? I used to like Wonder Woman comics as a kid. Yeah, maybe the fact she had huge hooters had something to do with it in my fevered 9-year-old brain. You get it any way you can when you're a tyke. And now that I think of it, some things never change. Wonder Woman had great weapons that she used to fight crime. Remember her arsenal of weapons? What did she have? Right, she had her rope or lasso that would make people tell the truth when they were tied up in it. Right, she had her bracelets that bullets would bounce off of. But my favorite Wonder Woman weapon, exactly, she had her invisible plane. That was always the coolest to me as a kid. Her invisible plane. What a great idea, an invisible plane. They're kind of useless if you're not invisible, though. You know what I'm saying? Bad guys are down on the ground going, hey, Muggsy, who's that gorgeous babe squatting up there at 50,000 feet? I don't know, but she's a honey. Oh, God, she's beautiful.
That is comedian Tom Kenny.
And he's got a point.
You may not know the name
SpongeBob.
Tom Kenny. You do know the name Tom Kenny.
I do know the name.
Is that the voice
of SpongeBob?
Is it really? That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's funny.
As soon as you said Tom Kenny, I knew exactly who that was.
I saw him way before he was SpongeBob. He used to be Bobcat Goldthwait's opening act.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be one voice actor to get in.
Bobcat or Tom Kenny?
Tom Kenny.
Okay, it's a
He's actually
possibility.
from Syracuse.
Is he really?
Yes.
So he's a local boy.
Yep.
That's awesome. We were talking about possibly doing a show down the road where everybody has a local connection. So you have all of these, but
And Greg has a local, Greg French.
Greg French is from Governor
Yes.
up in the Adirondacks. But here's the thing: is thinking about the star power we would be able to bring in, even with a limitation of saying no, everybody has to have some sort of a local connection.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise,
Syracuse.
That's
Alec
right.
Baldwin. Syracuse.
Winston Duke, Brighton.
Oh, yeah. I watched Black Panther last night.
Kristen Wiig. Rochester.
She doesn't always like to admit it, though.
No, she doesn't, but we'll get into.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Not
No.
local.
Just because? Can we do it anyway?
We'll see. I'm sure we can convince him to.
If
He
we
was
can
in
get
New York for Avengers.
Yeah,
if we
there you
can
go.
get Benedict Cumberbatch, we'll come up with a reason.
Yes, exactly.
His great uncle's third cousin, twice removed, was
His
from-
roommate in college.
If he says he'll come, we'll figure out a
figure out a way.
connection.
His dog's uncle.
Yes.
There
What does
we
that
go.
make us? Absolutely nothing. Anyway, so something
So we're playing 6 Degrees of Benedict Cumberbatch.
that's going to happen.
Give me an advance warning.
That's going to happen. So something I want to touch real quick on something big that happened at the Flower City Comic Con 2018 show. I asked Tanya to marry me, but she had to remind me she was already married to somebody else and that we didn't actually have a
We couldn't do
relationship.
that.
And then she was like, "We're just friends. Go away." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I need
I had to
sleep."
say no.
She had to say no, and she had to remind me that I had been up for 24 hours straight. So that was a thing. Anyway.
Ian, did you know you almost had a new stepmom?
Dun, 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 dun,
Did I miss that? 'Cause it's
Strange,
changed somewhere.
strange things happen when when I've had enough sleep. That's all I'm saying. I don't remember what it was. I think you brought me a bottle of water, and I was like, "You marry me?"
No.
No, honey, I'm not going to marry you.
Here, have some food.
Yes.
You know it's going to be a
That's
fun
probably what it
weekend
was.
when Chris leans over to you and Marlon and tells you, at some point during this weekend, I'm going to ask the two of you to shoot me, please.
I remember that
Let
now.
this be a lesson. Make sure you get plenty of sleep before,
Yes.
during, and after the convention.
Take this as a lesson. If you yourself wants to start a convention of your own someday, make sure to program in plenty of time to sleep. And don't, whatever you do not walk out onto the vendor floor after having no sleep drinking a margarita. I'm just offering that as
You had
constructive.
margaritas?
I'm not saying anything. I'm not confirming or denying any alcohol presence in the convention center at this time. Just saying that it's likely that if you are finding yourself sleep deprived and you're on the vendor floor and it's busy and people are asking you questions at a rate of about 10 every 15 seconds, having a margarita in your hand might not be the best tool.
How about gummy bears?
Gummy bears were good. I
were
was
good.
good with
Thank
gummy
you, Ann.
bears. Yes, Ann, we love you for gummy bears. So, what do we have any upcoming events at the moment? We don't. I don't think so.
No, but just be watching our Facebook page because we're looking at some cosplay workshop days.
Yes.
In the near future. I know we'll probably have another trivia event.
We're going to have a series of trivia events
sometime in the near future.
Yes.
We're just going to keep putting it out there to have people keep.
And we're going to be doing a lot more work with our new mascot, Simi.
Oh, she's so cute.
Simi the monkey, our mighty monkey. She's going to be going on.
monkey down in my basement.
She's going to be going on
That's
some
gotta-
adventures pretty soon.
That's got to go back to Anne.
Yes, it does.
So Chris is going to be wearing a monkey costume next year, right?
Not a chance. So, so we don't have events at the moment, but keep an eye on our Facebook, keep an ear on the podcast, and keep an eye on Facebook Live and our Twitter feed. And we're going to be getting back into Twitch again soon. So there's a lot of things coming up, and we will keep you posted. I have a question of the week, and it's directed entirely at Billy.
Oh, okay.
You went on an adventure of your own, Billy, so I want to hear a little bit about your weekend of seeing Springsteen on Broadway.
Wow. Okay, we wound up going on the Wednesday of the week, and right off the bus, we stored our luggage and went to the Stephen Colbert show, which was awesome.
Oh, I love that man.
Yeah.
I love that man.
It was an excellent behind-the-scenes look at how a show like that happens, too. We were in line for a couple hours, but there's a whole process of getting people into the studio, checking tickets, and talking to people and telling them what to do when you're on TV and all that good stuff. And the show was excellent. The main guest that night was Mandy Moore from This Is Us.
Yeah, good for her.
Josh Groban and Sarah Bareilles, who were hosting the Tonys that weekend.
Okay.
And Meghan Trainor was the musical guest.
Oh, nice.
But strangely enough, Stephen Colbert at the end of the show comes out to introduce Meghan Trainor. No Meghan Trainor. She had pre-taped her segment at a previous thing, and he introduced, goes, now I got the bad news.
She's
not here. This is how the sausage is made. So that's it. Thank you. Good night. And we're on our way.
Did they at least show you the spot, maybe?
No.
That was it. The show was done.
I DVR'd it just in case we somehow wound up on TV, but we didn't.
So she was all about the bass, but no Colbert.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thursday night saw Springsteen. What did we do Thursday morning, though? We did something. Went to the Brooklyn Museum of Art for a David Bowie exhibit.
Oh, outstanding.
That was fantastic. And then Springsteen on Broadway that night.
A Mets game.
That was Saturday.
Springsteen
was 2.5 hours, like 15 songs, and just a ton of stories.
Nice.
And literally, I can't remember last time I felt that sort of happy and full of emotion. And my seats were great, and it was awesome.
So we missed you that weekend, but it was worth the experience. So you could share
and
that.
all
That's
the money
awesome.
got spent. And here's the geek thing. On Friday, we went to go see the Carole King biographical musical Beautiful, who just the night before, Melissa Benoist, who plays Supergirl,
right.
started her run playing Carole King.
So you got to see her?
So got to see her. If I had gotten tickets for Springsteen on Friday and Beautiful on Thursday, that was her opening night. And
was the
Kevin
Friday.
Smith was there, and I would have loved to try.
Oh, okay.
But I say Beautiful is fantastic, and
That's
that was
great.
like the underrated thing. The Mets game was fantastic. They're my favorite team ever. I've been a fan for 40 years.
Now, you got to see him in person on a few occasions, haven't you?
No, never seen him in person.
Was this your first time seeing him play?
First time. In fact, when we when we were going to the stadium, now Susan talks to everybody.
Yes.
And she goes to the ticket person. This is our first time here. And they go, go to customer service. You get a certificate for your first trip here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They took all our information and they mailed us a certificate
Nice.
with the date and Mr. Met. And the game was great, except they lost. And it was against the Yankees, so the whole subway ride home was still filled with Yankee douchebag fans.
Oh, there you go. Yankees fans are still the only group of people I know that are like, can you just give us the World Series trophy? Guys, it's only spring training.
Yeah.
Well, just give it to us now. No, you actually have to play 180 games, and then we'll think about it.
And then Thursday was home, but it was a great, great weekend. So thank you for asking.
That is wonderful. I'm glad you had that. That's
and
awesome.
And your wife became the assistant for Keith
Hernandez.
I
forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
That's awesome.
So I'm on your Facebook page right now.
Saturday morning. Now, Keith Hernandez is one of my all-time favorite baseball players. First baseman for the '86 Mets. And, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Was he their captain?
He was.
Okay. Or at least the de facto.
One of their star players. And he has a new biography out. And so when we're going, let me see if he's doing a book signing or something. And he was.
That's nice.
In Maplewood, New Jersey, which is like a 40-minute train ride. So Saturday morning, took the train ride to Maplewood, New Jersey, the Maplewood Book Festival. Oh, wow. Where Keith did a Q&A and then a book signing afterwards. And after the Q&A, did it with a New York newscaster. Keith went back to the table and said, okay, everybody line up orderly back and towards the table. And it just turned into a big cluster F. It was just people come from every direction and no one knew what things were going on. So I'm just trying. I've got a spot, and I'll just follow
follow a crowd.
Yeah, do whatever. And next thing you know, things sort of straightened out. Things got a little more organized, and then more organized, and then handlers are coming. Okay, when you get here, open the book here, and have your thing ready. Then look up, and it'll take a picture. And everything got organized. So as I'm getting closer,
why do I hear Susan's voice?
Well, as I'm getting closer, Susan had decided just to sit at a table and wait. So I call her and I say, "Hey, I'm getting closer in line. If you want to come get your book signed." She goes, "No, I'm up." She waves at me. I'm already up here. And she's in charge of everything up there. She's just taking total control. She's the reason things got organized.
I'm not surprised.
Charge up there at the table. She told the other volunteers what to do and how to get the line more organized, and they did it, and it worked, and got my book signed. And she goes, the funny thing, I talked to her about it afterwards. She goes, the thing is, they let me.
They probably thought that she knew really what she was doing, and she was supposed to be there.
She wasn't there. Obviously, they'd never met her before, but they just let this stranger take over.
Well,
and
she has that kind of charisma. She has that way of getting involved. She
made me go, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess with her.
She is
so
a very
next thing you know,
presence.
she's standing next to Keith Hernandez for 2 hours, opening the book, handing it to him, pointing to the photographer, get the picture taken, and she's in charge. So.
I am amused as all hell by the story, but I cannot say I'm surprised by it.
Neither am I.
Having known Susan.
You're like, I'm almost up here. She's like, I've already been here for 2 hours.
And once I got my book signed, I still had to wait for another half hour until she
had
was
to wrap
done.
up because she was working.
Because she was working, and they asked her to come back next year.
That's
I'm not
fantastic.
surprised.
So, did you have any cool places to eat? Did you go?
Lots of.
Did you go to the Stage Deli or something like that?
All different types of everything from. We went to chains like the Hard Rock. That was convenient after Springsteen. Little diners. In Brooklyn, there was Tom's Diner, which was delicious for pancakes. And then, the Fancy Steakhouse. The first night, Susan wanted steak after Colbert. And she wanted a fancy steak. So I'm not used to paying $60 for a steak, but we did. At Gallagher's, I think the name was.
Any shawarma?
My wife had shawarma.
See?
We ate at where did she wind up with shawarma?
Down around the corner from where Avengers was filmed.
Yeah. Susan had shawarma. From a food truck.
Nice.
Yes.
Because that's how you do it.
Yes.
That's outstanding.
And so we ate at all different types of places, from, like I said, diners to the fanciest restaurants on Broadway.
Absolutely. That's amazing.
And we had a ball. So thank you for asking.
I am glad to hear that. So, we're going to wrap up our season premiere of Season 3 of FC3's Monkey Business. And
Chris's favorite song, This Never Stops.
This never stops. And this has been Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic-Con, coming at you in 2019 at the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Follow us on Facebook. Love us on Facebook. Follow us on Patreon. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us anywhere, and we will lead you to where the entertainment is. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all soon. Boom, boom.